In terms of tomorrow, those of you who are on social media, doesn't matter what reach you have, um, get something out. Share what's going around for Times Square tomorrow. I mean, even something that just says no war on Venezuela. 5 o'clock. You know, uh, make it as strong and as strong a reaction to what's happened over the past few days. Comrades, we have our work cut out for us. I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. It's important that we're having this meeting to honor Simon Bolivar, the anniversary of his death, the liberator, and there are other ceremonies and protests on this day. But we need to be very clear. This is not just against Venezuela. This is against the entire hemisphere. Cuba's in, the crosshairs, but it's also against the world because the world is changing and is changing in a way that is not good for U.S. empire and hegemony. It affects China, it affects Russia, Europe, Africa, the whole world. People ask, you know, what is China doing? What is Russia doing? Uh, it's a complex question. China and Russia, or for that matter, Iran, or the DPRK, or Cuba, they don't want to get into a direct military war with the U.S. And we understand that completely. However, this is the truth. It is not in the interest of these countries and of the rest of the world that is on the right side of history. It's not in their interest to allow this crazy, dying, wild beast of U.S. imperialism to just go out stomping on people, sending armada places. It's not in their interest. And so everyone who is part of that resistance, wherever they are on the planet, they've got to figure out what they're going to do, and they can't just do nothing. So this is a worldwide. Immediately, it's regional, but it's a worldwide struggle, comrades. And the silver lining, perhaps, maybe we shouldn't talk about silver linings when you have all these warships and in the Caribbean and the Pacific, is that there is a strong likelihood, certainly we hope, but it's more than hope, that if the U.S. continues with this wild war adventure, that it will blow up in their face. It will blow up in their face and perhaps turn into the biggest defeat that they've suffered in a while. This is all speculative. We don't know what comes next, bombing, land invasion. We do know the war is on when you have a military economic blockade of a country. That is no longer harassment. That's no longer threats. That's a declaration of war. And it's just a matter of what is the next steps. Uh, Part of the regional and global dimension of this war, this conflict, is that we're used to talking about the axis of resistance in the Middle East and in Western Asia, which still is intact in spite of the blows. Uh, But the axis of resistance is global, and it's all interconnected from Western Asia to Africa, and there's an immediate axis of resistance in relationship to Venezuela. I don't know if this is absolutely sure. Maybe comrades can, verify it. But Cuba and Venezuela have closed their airspace to the U.S. I heard that Iran has, and not only are uh, these countries directly participating in, tracking down U.S. Warplanes and preparing to defend against them, but of course, Russia and China are also participating in this. And that's important, and everybody knows it. And this again highlights the fact that it's a global conflict. It's a global war. But comrades, the bottom line for us in what are we, the belly of the beast, is that we can't just rely on other countries. Their role is very important. Hopefully, their role will be decisive in defeating the U.S. But we can't depend on other countries, especially here. Location, location, location. This is the uh, 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 epicenter of global imperialism, and this is the hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere. It is not thousands of miles away; it's hundreds of miles away. And this directly affects the working class here. And we've got to put our heads together, and not tomorrow, ASAP, and figure out how to forge a strategy, a broad strategy, multifaceted strategy against this to stop it. We got to try different things. Our tactics don't have to be the same. They can be diverse. They can include disruptions, militant disruptions, certainly anti-imperialist forces, such as us gathered here today, both on the podium and in the audience and on Zoom. We have to come together uh, in a sense separately, because we are anti-imperialist revolutionaries and we support the resistance and we support the Bolivarian Revolution. But then there's the question of how you broaden it. We need to broaden this. It is it's not easy. There are no U.S. troops on the ground, so to speak, as of yet. That tends to change the potential of an anti-war movement. Um, I think a big challenge for us is the reality that the war on migrant workers, the repression, has made it immensely more difficult for millions of people, millions of migrants, including a lot of black and brown people, to come out. And, if you think about it, is this not part of the strategy of the war on migrant workers? It's complicated. There are any number of reasons, but one of them is to limit the ability of these workers to fight by terror. And to another extent, not as much. There are a lot of people who would come out, but they're concerned about repression. So we've got to find a way to push back on that. I mean, clearly, one of the ways that we can help to make it easier for the migrant community to come out against the war is, of course, to join the issues, to unite the issues. And it's not hyperbolic, it's not rhetoric. The issues are very related. The war against migrants here and the war against the rest of the hemisphere south of the US. It's they're very connected, and it's easy to understand. That's what we tried to do, in the week we had in November, and we have to continue to do that. But we also have to get into the labor movement. We have any trade unionists here? I know Comrade Eddie's here. Uh, you comrades have got to get together. There needs to be a trade union meeting, Frank. There needs to be some kind of, maybe there is, I'm not aware of it. There needs to be a trade union meeting on this to motivate and galvanize trade union solidarity with the struggle against this war. I know we got students here. Some of you probably may have even been kicked out, because of, the work that you did resisting genocide in Gaza. But we've got to stir something up. We've got to stir something up on campus. We've got to, in solidarity with the rest of the world, the global axis of resistance, and particularly now in this hemisphere, we've got to make this war adventure, this desperate save empire war adventure, we've got to make them pay for it. It's a mistake, it's desperate, and we have to make them pay for it. And we have to make sure that it hurts them in a way that they won't forget and won't recover from. It's a tall order, comrades. It's a tall order. But I think that's our revolutionary duty. So let this be the beginning of us interacting and collaborating and planning over the next few days, tomorrow, the next few weeks, and early into 2026. This could have, however things develop, this could have an impact on the struggle here, on other issues, whether it's against the health care cuts, or whether it's the anti-union, or of course the war against migrant workers. This will affect all struggles. This will catalyze it, and I'm not just talking about make the government more fascist and more racist and more repressive. I'm talking about generating resistance, and it's up to us. It's our duty to see the opportunity to turn this war abroad into a war at home. Thank you.